Most of us love sweet things, but sometimes it's better to be bitter. Today, we're going to jump into what exactly are bitters and what do you use them for? Stick around as we jump into today's topic. Hi, I'm Tim from Elma Wine and Liquor. Today, we are talking all about bitters. You may have heard of them, you may have seen them, you may have even used them, but still don't really understand what they are. They usually come in these little smaller size bottles because they pack a serious punch. Just to start with, they are made with distilled alcohol. They're usually somewhere between 35 and 40% alcohol by volume, which is a pretty strong drink, even though you'll see them sometimes in grocery stores in states that you wouldn't normally see liquor because somehow they got classified as a food product. You'll find them in liquor stores, you'll find them in grocery stores, all over the place. What they do is, in addition to the distilled alcohol, they're infused with different flavors, herbs, spices, depending on the type of bitter it is. Ancient history on these is that they were used as a bittering element. In some cultures, it is thought to help balance out sweetness. I spent some time in Guyana in South America. People would typically boil different types of bitter herbs, bitter roots to use as a tonic to help balance out their bodies if they felt like they were having too much sugar, almost like a natural diabetic. That's where bitters comes from in the Caribbean culture, at least. So I have a whole bunch of different bitters here. Bitters are not just one thing. Every company, every recipe is slightly different. Starting with these Angostura bitters, which falls into the aromatic category. This is probably one of the more common ones you see out there. It's got this classic oversized label, which from what I understand started as a mistake. They just printed the labels too big and they decided to run with them. And they've stuck with it ever since. Angostura is made in Trinidad and Tobago. They also make rum, which is where they're getting their distilled alcohol from. It brings out spices of clove, cinnamon, chin root, cardamom, just a lot of different very aromatic herbs and spices, along with the flavors that come with it, but with a very bitter aftertaste. You only need a couple dashes in a cocktail to help balance out the sweeter elements in that drink. Angostura in particular, one of the other things that while I was living in Guyana, they came out with a soft drink called Lemon Lime and Bitters, which had almost like a Sprite, that lemon lime flavor with the bitters already in it. It was a great way to make an easy cocktail, just add rum and ice, and you had a little bit more complex cocktail than a typical rum and coke or something like that. So aromatic bitters, you'll smell them, you'll taste them, and it will bitter out that drink. If you put in too much, that aftertaste is a little bit too bitter for most people. Moving on, we have an orange bitters. This is a lighter style bitters with that orange zest flavor to it, a little bit lighter, a little bit more fragrant with the orange zest to it, the orange appeal. Use this in different cocktails, old fashions, it's fantastic for. Just helps to add that orange element in a different layer. So a lot of people put a muddled orange in an old fashioned. When you add in the orange bitters, it adds another level or layer of orange flavor to it that can spice up the drink, make it a little bit more complex, a little bit different than just throwing a sugar cube in bourbon and calling it an old fashioned. Another category of bitters is the herbal spicy type bitters, which is this particular one is called Peychaud. This one is a much lighter style. It's used traditionally in the Sazerac cocktail from New Orleans. Get a little bit more floral on this, get a little bit of a lighter flavor, not quite as bitter as an Angostura, but it definitely changes that flavor complexity of the drink with a couple dashes. And then we get into a whole plethora of various flavored and spiced bitters. Fee Brothers and The Bitter Truth are two big brands that make dozens of different flavored bitters. This particular one is a celery bitters. Throw this in a Bloody Mary instead of celery salt. Gives it a little bit more bitterness without as much salty flavor. We have an Aztec chocolate bitters. Use this in old fashions. I've used this in tequila old fashions. Adds a little bit of complexity, a little bit of that very dark chocolate flavor to it. You know how that dark chocolate gets really bitter. And then the same thing with this Bitter Truth. They use a spiced chocolate bitters. So this has another level of chocolate with that little spice to it. You can use that in different cocktails as well. They're fun to play with, and because you only are using a dash or two, these bottles will last a very long time. Just keep that top on tight so that the alcohol doesn't evaporate on you, and you can enjoy them, play with them, try them in different cocktails or concoctions, and see what you think. They're generally fairly inexpensive, anywhere from $5 to $15 a bottle, but again, they last a very long time with the amount that you should be using in any kind of cocktail. So that's our lineup of bitters for today. Really look forward to your questions. If you have any on this topic or any other related to drinks or cocktails, please hit us up in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button, and we will see you again soon. Cheers.